Hi and welcome to another in my series of videos on You Ask and I Answer. This time the question I've received is, when referring to inheriting a recessive disease, how would you know when you should use, for example, 2 lowercase r's or 1 lowercase r? So this is an interesting question, and if the condition is recessive you should always use the lowercase r because this is a recessive disease or condition. So the organism would have to have 2 lowercase r alleles for the disease or condition to be present. And this is a key thing here. If it doesn't have the recessive homozygous form, then it's not going to display the phenotype for that condition. So that's a key thing that you have to take into consideration. But a more interesting question is, how would you prove this is the case? And here what we would do is some experiments. So let's say we've got 2 mice. One of the mice has a white coat and the other sort of a pinky purpley coloured coat. How would we show which one of these conditions is recessive and which one is dominant? And what we would do is we would explore the possible outcomes. So if you think about it, there are only 2 possible outcomes in this situation. That is, if we're dealing with recessive and dominant traits in this way. If R is dominant, then uppercase R or uppercase R lowercase r will give the condition. Now that could be a white mouse or it could be that pink mouse, we don't know. So in the R dominant case, let's say here, if the R is dominant and it gives us the pink animal, then uppercase R will give us a pink animal, as will lowercase r and uppercase R. However, when we've got 2 lowercase r's, we get the white animal. Now if the R is recessive, if this allele is recessive, then we will get a reverse of that. What we will find is the 2 uppercase r's give a white animal, and an uppercase r and a lowercase r gives a white animal, and 2 lowercase r's for the recessive will give us the pink animal. So how do we explore this? Well, we carry out a series of crosses of these animals and then look at the progeny. We look at the outcome. So the first experiment could be crossing 2 of the white mice. Now admittedly we don't know if this is recessive at this stage, we don't know if it's dominant, and we don't even know if these mice are homozygous for uppercase R. They could be heterozygous, uppercase R, lowercase r, we don't know, but we perform the cross. And each mouse will give gametes which will contain uppercase r's. And when we do the crosses here, what we find is all the offspring turn out to be white, and in this case they're all uppercase r's because of the fact that we have dominant here, and they're all uppercase r's because the parents were uppercase r. So all are uppercase r, and none of them have the condition. In crossing experiment 2, let's say we take 2 white mice again. We still don't know at this stage if they're dominant or recessive or what's going on here, and we look at it. What we could find is if one of the animals is uppercase r, then the gametes are going to be uppercase r. If the other animal is heterozygous for the uppercase r, then one of the gametes is going to be uppercase r and the other gametes are going to be lowercase r, 50-50. So if we do the crosses, we get an uppercase r white animal, we get an uppercase r white animal, we get an uppercase r white animal, and we still get a white animal even though it's uppercase r, lowercase r, because for this condition the R is given the white coat and is dominant. We still don't really understand the relationship here with the pink, but we're exploring that with our crosses. So here we get 3 uppercase r's and 1 uppercase r lowercase r's, and none of them have the condition. In experiment 3 we now start to introduce the pink animals. So here we've got uppercase r white and lowercase r pink recessive, and we do the cross here. And what we find is the uppercase r animal, the white animal, gives gametes that have all got uppercase r's, and the pink animals, all their gametes have got lowercase r's. And when we do the cross here, what we find is all the animals come out white, and this tells us that the white condition here is dominant over the pink condition. And all the offspring in this case are uppercase r, lowercase r. Now in experiment 4, what happens if we take 2 animals that are uppercase r, lowercase r and cross them? Well, the gametes are going to be 50-50 uppercase r, lowercase r, And when we do the crosses here, what we find is we get an uppercase R, lowercase r, we get an uppercase R, uppercase R, we get a lowercase r animal that is pink, and we also get an uppercase R, lowercase r. And effectively what we've got is one homozygous for uppercase R, two heterozygous for uppercase R, and one homozygous for lowercase r. And we're seeing this ratio here. We've got 3 white animals to 1 pink. And this is telling us that basically what we've got here is that the pink animals, they are lowercase r's, they are in fact recessive. We can test this further by taking our pink animals, which we now suspect are lowercase r, and crossing them back against a heterozygous uppercase R, lowercase r. And when we do that, what we find is the pink animal, all the gametes are lowercase r, and of course the heterozygous uppercase R gives an uppercase R and lowercase r gametes. And when we run the cross here, what we find is we get a lowercase r pink, we get an uppercase R, lowercase r heterozygous for the uppercase R white, we get another one of those animals, and we get another lowercase r homozygous for lowercase r, which will be pink, and we've got a 50-50 ratio here. And finally, just to make sure that everything sort of makes sense, if we take 2 of the pink animals and cross them, they're going to produce gametes that are all lowercase r, and when we cross them, what we get is homozygous animals for lowercase r, so they all come out as pink. So by doing these experiments, we can explore the relationship between the white animal and the pink animal, and we can determine that we've got an animal here that the pink attribute is lowercase r, it's recessive. If it wasn't the case, then the crosses wouldn't appear as we've just seen across these 6 experiments. Now, if you found any of the terms confusing in this, I've got a Biosciences Glossary that you might find useful. There's a link in the description through to that. I've got over 2,000 terms in there and common and abbreviations. There's some common chemical structures in there, and there are links through to supporting videos. So in summary for this, by crossing the mice, uppercase R, lowercase r, and lowercase r, it's possible to demonstrate through the ratios that R is recessive, the pink is recessive. As we saw, if we're crossing homozygous for uppercase R, all the mice are uppercase R, we have no condition. If we cross a homozygous uppercase R against a heterozygous uppercase R, then we get 3 homozygous uppercase R's, and we get 1 uppercase R, lowercase r, and no condition. When we introduce the pink animal, which is the lowercase r homozygous, and we cross that with a homozygous uppercase, all the mice come out as uppercase R, lowercase r, so we don't see the condition. If we cross heterozygous for uppercase R, what we find is we get 2 heterozygous uppercase R's, 1 homozygous uppercase R, and 1 homozygous lowercase r. If we cross uppercase R, lowercase r with a homozygous lowercase r, we get 2 uppercase R, lowercase r, and 2 homozygous lowercase r with 50-50 condition. And finally, just to prove things, if we do a homozygous lowercase r against a homozygous lowercase r, all the animals come out with the condition. Now, if you want to explore genetics a little bit further, I've got a video here that you might want to have a look at, and I've also got a playlist of genetic engineering videos which you may also find of use. You can see links to these videos on your right. Thanks for taking the time to watch this, and if you've got any more questions, please feel free to submit them and I will answer them here on YouTube. Bye for now.